Welcome to From Betrayal to Breakthrough. I'm Dr. Debi Silber, and here's a dose of Dr. Debi. What would a shift in perspective do for you? That's the question we're taking on today. It may not seem like a big deal, but I'm going to show you how dramatically life can change when you go from being a cup is half empty type of person to a cup is half full type of person. It's my hope that you begin to question how you think so you can start making changes towards a different way to think that serves you so much better. Here we go. Hi, Dr. Debi here. So I did a really short video on this morning, and it seems like it needs to be expanded. So I wanted to share with you what a change in perspective can do. I started with this tale that I had heard, and it's the tale of the crying mom, and she had two daughters. One daughter sold umbrellas, and the other daughter sold fruit at a local fruit stand, an outdoor fruit stand. And the mom would, every time it would rain, she would cry for the daughter who sold the fruit at the fruit stand because, well, she couldn't sell her fruit. And she would, every time it would be sunny, she would cry for the daughter who sold the umbrellas because, of course, no one would buy or need her umbrellas. And then one day it hit her, well, what if she, on the days where it rained, she'd be really super happy for the daughter who sold the umbrellas because she'd be selling her umbrellas. And what if on the days that it was really sunny, she'd be really happy for the daughter who sold the fruit because then she'd be selling her fruit. All this was a change in perspective. And that's so important because think about it when it comes to healing from betrayal and shattered trust. And I'm certainly not saying, oh, you should just be so excited that it happened and thrilled that it happened. That's not what I'm saying. But there comes a time out of the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough where a shift in perspective accelerates your healing. And we see this so often, especially when it comes to stages 3, leaving stage 3 and entering into stage 4. And by the way, stage 3 is the most common stage to get stuck in. And that's where, if we're not careful, not only do we stay stuck in there for a while, we can stay stuck there for life. So one of the things that happens is there are so many different processes that we use within the PBT Institute, but one is this process called a coherent narrative. And what it does is it takes what had become your life story and turns it into and changes it into a pivotal chapter of your next story. And it needs to be done at a certain time because if you do it too early, it just backfires. It just doesn't work because you're not ready for it. Like, think about it. Early on in your betrayal, if someone said, "Oh, isn't this the greatest thing that ever happened?" Or what's the benefit of this? You look at them like they were crazy. Benefit? You could barely get out of bed. But later on, if you were to consider the same question, maybe you'd realize, wow, you know what? I never would have gotten out of that toxic relationship if it didn't crash and burn. I never would have realized how lovable, worthy, deserving I was if everything didn't come to a screeching halt. Something like that. We don't take the time to look at these things until and unless we have to. And here's where those challenging situations in life, and it could be anything challenging, really. It doesn't necessarily have to be betrayal, but something that really stops you and has you thinking and has you looking at things and reevaluating and considering, wow, is this working for me? Is this all there is? Is this what I want? What else could there be? Right? So one of the most important questions, and I know this is going to sound really odd, but whatever situation you're in, maybe you're struggling with weight, maybe you're struggling to heal from a betrayal, maybe it's a health issue. Consider this question: what benefit am I receiving from this experience? Now, I know some of you you heard that and you were like, benefit? She's crazy. Well, maybe a little, but no. There's a benefit. And here's an example. And this is my 30th year in business, and I've been working in health forever. And I remember years ago when I was helping a lot of people with weight loss, and I would ask that question, and they would say, well, of course I want to get the weight off. But you know what? Not always, because think about it. That weight could be providing a certain amount of protection. When we're young, we hide behind mom's legs. When we're older, the weight kind of does the same thing. So if that weight were to be released, were to lose that weight, how would you be perceived? What would be expected of you? How would you be looked at? What would there be new demands placed on you? Would you, all that attention, would that freak you out? I mean, there are so many things that come into question. And I'll never forget, this happened so many times. I'd be working with someone and they would say, well, of course I want to lose the weight. But then I would say, okay, well, tell me about your relationship. And they would say, it's okay. And then I would say, okay, well, tell me about what happens when you lose the weight, 20, 30 pounds, whatever. And then, I get the deer in the headlights look and I'd say, well, what just happened? What was that? Oh, and say, well, what's going on? And they would realize, well, when I lose the weight, my partner is threatened, jealous, and insecure. So what they do is they sabotage their weight loss so they don't rock the boat. This happens all the time. So outwardly, it may not seem like there's a benefit to it, but you know what? There may be. And now I'm going to bring up health, and I'm not saying that you have this illness, symptom, condition, disease purely because of a belief, but I have seen this. So just consider this. Even something like an illness, are you getting a lot of sympathy or attention that maybe you wouldn't get if you didn't have that need? What's going on there, right? And here's the other thing I see. We never want to be without an identity. And if you've identified yourself as, well, I have this, I am this, well, who would you be without it? If we don't know, it doesn't matter how great and wonderful the outcome may be. If we don't have an idea of an identity, our identity in that space, we're not comfortable reaching for it. So I know this was different kind of thing here because we're talking about perspective, but it's so true. And I've seen this in my 30 years of business. I have seen this so often where that shift in perspective allows that opening to consider something that you may not have been willing to consider earlier on. But what would a perspective shift do for you? Would it change how you look at your current relationships? Would it change how you look at your current level of finances? Would it change how you look at your current level of health? What would be something where that shift in perspective may really serve to move you, whether it is in any of the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough, move you forward just a little bit, or in any other area of your life? Every single thing we do only moves us one of 2 ways. It moves us further or closer to the body, health, lifestyle we want. So would a change in perspective, even the slightest bit of a shift, move you even just 1 degree closer to what you want? If so, then it's trauma well served. So I hope this helps. And just like the crying woman turned into the smiling happy woman, because now she would look at her daughter's successes so differently, what would a shift and change in perspective do for you? So to find out where you are, by the way, in the stages, the Healed or Hardened quiz will tell you exactly what stage in the 5 stages from betrayal to breakthrough you're at. You can just find that at healedorhardenedquiz.com. So I hope this helped, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Did you resonate with that story about the crying mom? Are you receiving any benefits from staying stuck? And if so, do you now see what those benefits are? If you discovered something you didn't realize up until now, that's great. Now you're ready to do something about it. Can I help? First, take the Healed or Hardened quiz to see what stage you're in on your healing journey. You can just find that at healedorhardenedquiz.com. And share this podcast with a friend. How? From your phone? Just take a screenshot of the podcast and share it with someone you know would benefit. Thanks for listening. Can't wait to be with you next time. And here's to your breakthrough.